Well, hey, everybody. Welcome. This is Fantasy Baseball Camp. This is our 26th episode. And today we're going to re-tier the shortstop position. And tonight with me, Michael Burns, BNB underscore Burns on all your social media. I've got Thomas Lombard, BNB underscore Lombard, and Sir Wesley Hughes at BNB underscore Wes. Sir Wesley, how you doing, sir?
No, doing fantastic. It's hard to believe that we're on episode 26 and what, 8, 9 weeks worth of doing this?
About 12, at least 12
11.
weeks. 12 weeks. This
Yeah,
is
we
going to
started
be
before
week
the
12.
season.
Yeah, we started preseason. We got that preseason, pre-draft episode in. So, Tommy, how you doing as we get ready to do our shortstop re-tiering?
I'm doing good. I think this one's going to go kind of how first base did. Going to be pretty top heavy, not much in the middle, fall off pretty quickly. But there's a lot of interesting names, a lot of young guys. This is a rest of season ranking, not what they've done in the past, who've come up and are pretty
No, this is
impactful.
what they've done in the past too. This is just a re-tier.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
This is tiering but you put in your own calculations what you think is worth in the past. So some guys have done amazing. Some guys, Trey Turner has not done well. Do some believe he's going to take off finally, or is he not going to be worth that elite category and elite price? If we were
Well,
drafting again today,
if you're familiar with dead cat bounces, as we've discussed, I don't know that Trey Turner is going to take off.
yeah, and we can. I guess we can just start with Trey Turner. What you thinking there, Wesley, with Trey Turner at shortstop?
Man, honestly, had I not looked at his graph, I probably would have put him in the near elite tier. But I can't honestly believe that I'm saying this right now. I'm putting Trey Turner in the good starter tier.
Man.
Wow. That's deep.
I will say he's probably at the top end of the good starter tier.
I, I, I'm debating on still putting him in the elite tier. I just believe in his talent. I know he hasn't been good over the last full calendar year plus, but I mean, I can be swayed to say near elite just because he's struggled so much the last year, and there's other guys that want over him. If you're in the elite tier, you kind of that's who you want. So
How's Trey Turner been doing over the last 28 days? Over the last 28 days, Trey Turner's batting 225 with a slugging percentage of 388.
It's really
on
the
base
last
percentage. Yeah.
2 weeks he's been pretty good. 2 weeks he's hitting 300 with a 500 slug. So that's doing a lot better. But it's a very small sample size.
Right. That's nitpicking to try to find the good Trey Turner, trying to find that certain curriculum to get the results that you want.
Yeah, I think we're kind of hampered by the fact that he legitimately could be the top scoring shortstop the rest of the season, and that would surprise nobody. But he's so far down the list right now that for his talent base that you're like, he's just having a terrible year so far.
Looking at his trends though, if you look at week to week how he scores, he is just 5 points away. I think five away from scoring, upper 20s on most weeks. With the most recent week of 29 points. And the way I think about it is the elite guys score 30 plus points more often than not.
Yeah.
And Trey's close to that. And so I still think he could be that near elite guy. I'm not going to say he's elite. I don't think he's going to give you a 600 point on pace kind of shortstop player or even 550, but he might give you 500. And so that's kind of that near elite, and that's where I want to put the guy.
Yeah, I think 2 votes to 1, fall in the near elite.
Yeah, suck it, Wes. Sorry.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I'll compromise there and put him in the near elite.
Oh, let's talk about another guy I think is going to be hard to rank is Xander Bogaerts. You think of him as a $200 million contract guy. I forgot what he got, somewhere up there.
300.
No, he didn't get 300, 280, right? And elite shortstop, one of the big names guys, and he just really hasn't been that. For the year, hitting 264 on base is good, 348, 400 slug. That's not impressive at all. He's not even the top 12 points overall scored.
Look at his
Um,
trends. Look at his points on a week to week basis. That's all. It's awful, awful. He is
yeah,
scoring
he had a
from
good first week. That's about
yeah,
it.
week 4 on the most points he scored from week 4 to week 11 now, 14. That's wish you had better That's wish you had better territory.
Maybe my years and years and years of watching Xander Bogaerts make me biased, but I'm gonna put him as a good starter because I think he still has it in there. He's got such a good team around him, or potential to have a good team. I'm not ready to say wish you had better, but
I think if you believe in Xander, you believe that the Padres are going to turn it around because Xander's not doing it. Juan
Yeah,
Soto's heated up. Manny Machado's not doing it.
I do believe in his track record, though. I mean, if nothing else, Xander Bogaerts is consistent. Yeah, he's had a little bit of a down year after the first few weeks, but I don't know, man. Just his track record speaks for itself. I think he's gonna pick it up. And honestly, if the Padres turned around, I think it's gonna be because Xander starts picking it up and turning it on, and he's gonna end up being that spark plug.
I think if the Padres turn around, it will be because of Manny Machado, not to say Xander, but like I agree with you guys. The track record of being a regular good player that hits 300 is there too much for Xander. So I'm gonna put I'm putting him as a good starter. I can't put him any higher than that though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with good starter right now.
I want to put him in the lower, but his track record's the only thing that he's still holding on to that tier 3.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good bounce on his 30-day rolling chart. So I think good things are to come for Xander over the next couple weeks.
So a great buy low candidate is what I think we're all saying here.
Yeah.
Okay, Tommy, you want to pluck a name out of the shortstop list for us?
yeah, we'll go with another guy. Marcus Simeon's at the top, but I think he's more of a second baseman, so we won't count him. Thairo Estrada is another guy who's there, second baseman. I don't count him. Nico Horner, again. These are, I'm just saying names that probably don't count here. There's a lot of guys. That Bryson Stott's another second baseman. I probably would put
I
in the
mean, that's
shortstop
the
category.
position. That's what happens at short and second.
Yeah.
You slide
So
over an injury.
let's look at a true second baseman, or excuse me, shortstop. Dansby Swanson.
Let's look at a true relief pitcher.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson.
Let me scroll down to find him here real quick.
I'm gonna be honest. This one's pretty easy for me. I think he's a good player.
Good starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's more. I don't think he's less.
Let me look at my tell, and it's the trends. He really doesn't have 20-point weeks, so he's not close to.
Yeah, like he's gonna be a 20 homer, 10 steal guy. You know.
He's never scored more than 500 points in a year, and even now, and we're talking fantasy player to player, but Dansby had a 6 WAR last year. But how does that translate as a fantasy player? That was 471 points, and that's nothing but a good starter right
Yeah,
there.
he gets a lot of credit and more because of his defense, man. The guy is the most accurate thrower I think I've ever seen at shortstop.
Okay, so that was pretty quick consensus right there. And Dansby Swanson, good starter.
Yeah.
Let's go with Bobby Witt. I think it's this could argue one or two categories, whatever you believe in the guy. Wes.
Oh, because he's on my team. I'm gonna have to say near elite. because the average just isn't quite where I would like it to be. The on base percentage is pretty not a it's not abysmal, but man, a 282 on base percentage for a guy that's hitting 244, like that is not great. So I feel like Bobby Witt, like there's just so much more there for him. He's in the near elite tier for me for a couple of reasons. One, the stolen base potential is just something. Um, he could lead the league in stolen bases. I don't think he will, but he'll be in the top five. And he has that combination of power speed that you just really love to see in fantasy. So he all the tools are there, all the potential is there, but he strikes out a little too much for me, and the average just isn't quite there. Now, granted, he has zero protection in that lineup in Kansas City, so
Especially with
he's
Vinny
just
P
being.
baby going down.
I know, and we had big things for Vinny P, for Prado, for MJ Melendez. We thought that the Royals were going to have a better lineup than they did this year because of the young talent. Bobby Witt's just getting pitched around. If you watch their games, man, they're not pitching to him, so it's just going to be a struggle for him. So honestly, I can't put him in the elite category, but he's in the near elite for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I want to argue his trends are close. He's got 25, 25, 26. But that batting average, you just never know. The stolen bases is what's holding him up there.
Yeah,
If he could get that average to about 260, 280, he'd be elite. Elite.
yeah,
But that average of 244.
Yeah, you see
and
he's got some high 26s, 25s, but he's also got some 12s, some 15s, some 7s, some 12s
Right.
sprinkled in there quite often. So
So,
I think he has an ability to take a next step in near
and
elite, but echo everything Wes said.
I think we should mention in the shortstop position right now. We're June 15th, right? So Marcus Semien is number one. Mookie Betts is number two at 265 and 257, respectfully. However, they're not, shortstops. So Wander Franco, Bo Bichette, Bobby Witt are at 243, 222, and 209. Man, the drop off at shortstop between Wander Franco, Bo Bichette, Bobby Witt, and then Francisco Lindor, who's at 198, is drastic.
yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of guys I mean, there's maybe even some free agents sprinkled in here. And between Lindor and Bobby Witt and names that you would typically see on teams that guys are still holding on to. And let's just go right into it with Anthony Volpe.
Oh, that's easy for me. I wish I had better. He's been one of the
Yeah,
worst shortstops in the leagues.
But he's
but
still a
yeah,
guy. He has the name that people are holding on to him, hoping that he turns it around. But he's atrocious. He needs to be sent back to AAA to do some work.
we said earlier in the season that we would give up on Volpe when the Yankees did. They haven't given up on him yet. But to be quite honest, like he's just not showing much reason for me to keep him on my roster. You know, definitely not starting him right now. I feel like you just have better options on the waiver wire than Volpe right now. If you have a minor league, yeah, throw him in your minor leagues, let him sit, let him season a little bit. But I don't know that I'm starting Anthony Volpe right now. I'm certainly not starting him. I don't know that I have him on my roster.
Okay, so a guy who I'm going to scroll up and see the highest scoring free agent shortstop in our league, and that's Bryson Stott. Bryson
But he
Stott.
he only plays second base because of Trey Turner, which we already ranked. I
I know,
wouldn't.
but okay, we have
I
a
wouldn't.
lot of those in between. That's our
Yeah.
fringe guys, though.
Yeah. Well, let's go with the easy ones. All right, Wander Franco. I mean, he's obviously elite, right? Are we disagreeing there?
No. He's
It's
good.
hard to say your top scoring shortstop is not in the
Yeah.
top. I mean,
Bo Bichette, he's elite.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Wander Franco's though week to week, it's very similar. I wouldn't say very. It's to Bobby Witt's. You
Yeah.
got those high 20s, but then you've got an 11. You've got just got less frequent of those lows. I guess I would say
Yeah, I think consistency is a huge thing in fantasy where
the floor is higher with
yeah, if you
Wander
can
than
count
it
on a
is.
guy that has a high floor where like, hey, the lowest that they will score in a week is 10 points. If you got a guy like that, which is basically Wander Franco, like man, you're in the top standings of your league.
They also have the potential to put up 40-point weeks like he did in week 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. How about the
Francisco
guy?
Lindor is another name that traditionally has been an elite player, but this
Um,
year he's
I'm
batting
curious to see what you guys think on this one.
he's
I want to go last on this.
batting 214. His on base isn't even 300. His slug's 416. He's got 6 stolen bases, so nothing impressive there. I don't know how he's actually this high in the ranks. Now I'm looking at it.
I
What is
agree.
the
100%.
strikeout rate is high compared to the rest of the shortstops. He's walking a decent amount.
I don't
What?
have good faith in him going forward. He's got the track record in the past, and that's the past. It's too far in the past. Most recent years, he's not had it. 2021, he batted 230. Last year, he batted 270. And then in 2021, that was only 125 games. He must have been injured, which isn't. I feel like I feel like it's not a big deal. Is a happening thing for Lindor, but as I look back in his history, it's not. He's pretty consistently 158 games, but I think Lindor's seen his best years already at age 29, and I right now, if you look at his current stats and everything,
He was also propped up a lot by the juice ball era in Cleveland.
Yeah. I'm going to have to concur with Tommy. I'm looking at his stat line and he's on my team. I have no idea how he has scored 198 points. I have no idea. He's hitting 214. Yeah, he's hit 12 home runs, but he's struck out more than almost every shortstop, not named Trey Turner, who has struck out the most, which is mind-boggling. But
So
he
Lindor
has
is
he's in the
third in
bottom tier with his
RBIs.
stolen bases. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's not like he's outscoring people in doubles and triples. He's not.
So where does that put him? Historically, we'd have called him elite. Clearly, that's not it. The season he's having and the last season didn't really make him near elite.
I mean, like, I think I have to put him in the near elite.
Mm.
And
Wesley.
like, I don't want to, is the thing. Is like, I think I have to put him in the near elite, wishing that he's in the tier 3. Like,
wishing he was in tier 3. Yeah, I think
Sounds
you're
like-
flip flopped there a little
I
bit.
think your bias brings you to him.
He's definitely a good starter for me at most, because that's the only thing, like we talked about, holding on to the ledge of tier 3 is his track record for Alexander.
So I'm looking at one more thing.
His WOBA.
I have him as a good starter right now, and I was hoping to put him in the near elite. I wanted to look up his expected stats because sometimes they're doing better and they just can't do it. But his
He's
expected
looking at
average,
his ex WOBA.
his expected batting average is 235 compared to 214 average. That's not giving me confidence. Expected slug 444. That's fine. It's above league average. But his WOBA, his expected WOBA is 332, a little bit above league average, but it's not league average is not what you look for in a stud player. That's a good starter to me. I tried to find some defense for it.
At most, and it's just his track record holding him up.
Yeah.
He's scoring at most 15 points a week. I say the 15, but that's his typicals 15 area range. He did score 25 last week. As we're trash talking him here, Tommy, he did score 25 last week, 26.
yeah,
But we can revisit this in 2 months, and if he changes it around, then he can easily jump back up. But I have not seen anything over the last 150 games that makes me think he's an elite player or near elite.
Yeah.
the thing for me is I don't know how he scored 25 points last week. He's on my team. I watched him play, and I don't know how he scored that many. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know how
Did
he's
you win
doing
last
it.
week? Did you win last week?
I did.
He won it for you. There you go. You're welcome.
All right. Let's do another name. And Corey Seager.
That's easy. He's
No,
elite,
that's
man.
near elite.
He might be. I think he's the best shortstop in. Come on.
I'm going with elite.
Tommy, did you get a haircut?
I did. Thanks, man. Thanks for listening. I need to trim my beard, but I got a haircut. YouTube, you guys can see this if you're listening. Check us out on YouTube. You can see my fresh haircut.
Yeah, you can see that haircut.
You can barely see the grays now.
It's called a skin fade.
Yeah. I got swag. All right, that was easy.
Bet.
I think the kids are calling it drip nowadays. Is that
Not my kids.
True?
Not my kids.
Your kids are what, 2 and 4 months?
3 and 4 months. Anyways.
So yeah, Corey Seager, he's elite. I mean, there's no question. Can anybody question it and maybe even think about putting him in the elite? No? Okay.
Nah, he's a former MVP. He's the highest points per game scorer this year. If it wasn't for his injury, he would be the highest scoring shortstop. So
I want to throw this name out there, and it's a same type of guy that we just talked about, Carlos Correa.
Oh, he's not been good. He hasn't been good for years.
Thank goodness. The Giants and Mets right now are.
Yeah. They're
dodged a bullet there.
That's an easy wish you had better, right? Like that's.
I'm going with wish you had better there, man. I just.
Why is he wish you had better compared to Xander and Francisco Lindor? Because his week to week points are the same type, if not better than those other two guys, especially Xander.
I trust them offensively to turn it on more than I do Carlos Correa. He's a defensive platinum glove winner. That's part of what made him his money. We don't care about defensive fantasy. So I just believe in Xander, Dansby, and Francisco more than I do Carlos Correa.
And if we're talking about track record, like Carlos Correa, over his career has been decent, but I want to say that he's only had 1 or 2 years where he hasn't had a single year that he scored over 500.
Yeah,
his 2021 year, I thought that he had a great year, but like,
why did he get paid so much?
I'm looking at his track record from a fantasy perspective, and there is legitimately 1 year, since 2015 that he's been
his career
near elite, not even elite. Like in 2021, he hit 26 home runs, hit 279 with Houston. Like that's his best fantasy year.
Right, I was going to say he's a career good starter.
Yeah,
but I don't even think he's a good starter right now, though.
I don't know why he gets so much credit. Like, do you guys know? Like, do you have a feeling as to why Carlos Correa he gets named in like the elite shortstop? Because to me, I mean, he's like barely top 10.
I think
he's got so much
his first 3
merit.
years. His first 3 years, he had power. He came up immediately. Second overall pick behind Byron Buxton.
Yeah,
so he had pedigree of everything, but
that was also just the juice ball era, man. Like,
well, everybody got the advantage there.
And trash cans. Yeah.
All right, Correa. Wish you had better. That was a good name. There's a couple other names in here I know we have to get to, so I'll just take the low hanging fruit. My man, Ellie De La Cruz. I don't know where to place him because he's a rookie that's been up for a week, 2 weeks. All the hype in the world. If you ask somebody, he's a first-round pick next year. You ask the next person, he's a good starter. He hasn't proved anything. I don't know what to do with him with a tier ranking right now.
What's he done in his first? How long's it been up? 2 weeks. How's he done? What's his stat line? Do you have it up?
He 31 points his first week, and he's not did good this week. But we're talking about 34 at bats. He's batting 235, 350
That's what
on
you got
base
to go off
with
of, though,
412
don't you?
slug, 5 stolen bases, and 1 home run in 9 games. 5 stolen bases in 9 games is pretty elite from a category standpoint. I know we mainly focus on points.
Right. You can try to look at this. The way you have to kind of look at this is if the year ended and after these 2 weeks, he came up, had a September, and now the off-season hype has happened. Those were his 2 weeks in September. Where are you tiering him right now after to go into 2024?
I would want him over Xander Bogaerts, Dansby, and Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
I think he can be just as good as Bobby Witt. I still trust Trey Turner more. I could be way off base and we could all be wrong, but I think he's near elite until he's proven otherwise, really.
If I'm putting Bobby Witt in the near elite tier, which I am, I got to put Ellie in there too, man. Like their skill sets are very similar, and Ellie has more power potential than Bobby Witt. So, I got to put him near elite.
Yeah, it's if you look at what he's done, you're going to be, oh, he's only batting 235 in his first 2 weeks, but the hype is there and the pedigree is there.
Yeah, and there are very few players in baseball that just transcend the game, right? Like a Ronald Acuna, right? A Fernando Tatis, those type guys that are just explosive. Ellie is that guy.
There's I think he had a 70 grade power, 70 grade speed, like a 50 grade hit tool.
Yeah.
There's very few people who get 70 grade anything, let alone 70 grade power and speed as a prospect.
Depending on what you're looking at, some of the guys ranked him as an 80 grade speed.
He is the fastest player in baseball right now. He has the highest sprint, 100 percentile sprint speed. He could be, not this year. I think he'll struggle a little bit, but he could be a 30 home run, 50 steal guy at one point in his career. That would not be out of the realm of possibility.
That's Ronald Acuna comparisons right there.
Yeah. Just much taller.
Yeah, and there's been some comparisons between him and O'Neal Cruz. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is another guy that's really exciting, right? But I think Ellie's a switch hitter. Ellie he's faster than O'Neal Cruz. I think that he has more potential. He swings and misses less than O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz has some holes in his swing. So, if we're talking shortstops, right? I think I would rather have Ellie for rest of season and 2024 than O'Neal Cruz. Would you agree or disagree?
Rest of 2024, yeah.
All right, so near elite. That's where Ellie's going.
So I want to name this guy real quick. Let's just categorize this player in Javier Baez in 3, 2, 1. Wish he had better. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's run through real quick, like some of the ones we have not mentioned.
Willy Adames. He's a good starter.
Good starter. Thairo Estrada. He's a second baseman.
Yeah. Tovar for the Rockies. Ezekiel Tovar.
I wish he had better.
Yeah, he doesn't. He had one good year in Double-A.
Jeremy Pena.
Jeremy Pena.
I'm going good starter for him.
Yeah, good starter. I can't put him in a wish he had better. He's close.
He's close.
I think that's Jamie. That's the good starter is a Jamie Pena. If you look at what he's doing, his trends.
He is the definition of a good starter.
Yes.
Are we?
Tom, you had a couple of different. You said a couple of different names to go through.
Thairo Estrada was one of them I was looking at. That he's been really good, but technically falls in the second baseman category. Is Gunnar
Gunner's
playing
third
shortstop?
base?
Is he third base?
He's swapping back and forth. He's been third base mostly, but he's honestly been playing shortstop a little bit because the next guy I'm going to mention is Jorge Mateo, where
wish he had better.
I do. I think he is wish he had better, but man, he started out the season on
he did
fire.
He
And
did.
we were like, "Oh man, is this the new Jorge Mateo? Is he gonna maintain this?"
Well, he was a big
He
Yankees
did not.
prospect. He was a big
I
Yankees
know.
prospect.
So look, I'm calling for it. I think Jorge Mateo gets included. He and Santander in a trade to Cleveland for one Shane Bieber.
Those are enough
Interesting.
future pieces.
Jorge Mateo, Anthony Santander. Yeah, man. Because
No
Jackson
way.
Holiday's right there, dude. Like he's gonna be
Oh, I understand that, but why would Cleveland want those two? They're going to get much
because their
better
offense
offers.
sucks.
I would rather have
No,
Vaughn Grissom.
no,
No,
man.
I wouldn't.
They're not gonna get. Nah, they're not gonna get much for Bieber.
Starting pitching prices. Okay, but anyways, um, Zachary Neto. I know he's hurt right now.
I wish I had better. He hasn't been that impressive to me.
Wish I had
Look at
better,
his trends,
but
Tommy.
I don't know, man. I think he's a good starter right now. Um I think I'd have to put him in good starter.
I would take him over Xander Bogaerts. So his trends are, I mean, the dude scored 26 last week, 20 in week 8, 15, 21. The guy's been pretty good, except for week 9 and week 5. He's scored at least 14 points as his low. And he probably averages, I'd say 18 points. That's a good starter.
All right, you talked me into it. He didn't score anything week 1 though. That's horrible.
Or week 2. He probably had in that bat or two at bats, and he struck out both of them.
Yeah.
All right, I got one that we talked about a couple episodes ago, but just want to see where you guys are at on this one. Orlando Arcia.
Let me scroll to find the guy. Oh, there he is.
Look, man, he's 166 at bats. He scored 123 points. Look,
I think he's a good starter for the Braves and where they are, and he's like their weakest player. I don't think he's a good starter for fantasy.
Yes, his trends is terrible. His trends is not good, and that's probably because he's not there every day from week to week. You know, you never know who's going to be their shortstop the next week. But I'm with Tommy.
I'll say it this way: if you're starting, even with his counting stats and look 331, 5 home runs, like if you're starting Orlando Arcia right now, like you're in a bad spot.
Oh, okay.
So here's the
One
name
more
I
name.
thought you. Go ahead, Tommy.
Matt
I think
McClain.
it's the same guy.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
He's only been up for 3 weeks too. He's the same boat as Ellie. Obviously not the same pedigree as Ellie, but it's tearing up the minors. He was like one of the best hitters. He had one awesome week in week 8, 42 points. He's been fine since then. I think he's a good starter. I haven't seen enough to say he's not worth it. I want to roster him just to see what the next has, but he's definitely not near elite.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I mean, he's a good starter until he either proves himself to be near elite by the end of the year or proves himself to be.
Oh, okay.
I think there is the potential for him to prove and move into the tier 2 by the end of the year. But I think one of two things are going to happen. I think the league's going to adjust to him as it normally does for the younger players. He might still remain in the tier 3, but there's also a very good possibility where you wish you had better.
Yeah, I think he's one of the players that it would not surprise me if he's up or down either of these tiers in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if he can adjust back as the league adjusts to him, and that's what the great players do. I would probably go good starter. If we're gonna give Xander and Lindor the track records, then he's got his track record in the minors of just tearing it up.
Yep.
Okay.
In Great American Ballpark.
If we're talking about track record, I'm gonna bring up Tim Anderson.
Who?
Tim Anderson.
I have to actually control F to find this guy.
Well, he's been hurt, most of the year.
His trends aren't going to tell you anything. It's just a history.
It's like where do you think Tim Anderson fits? I mean, I feel like the last few years he's been
I wish I had better if I have Tim Emerson.
Good starter to like edge of wish you had better. You know,
I was
like
hoping you'd say that, Wes, because if you look at him, he's never scored 400 points.
he's been hurt.
He's
He
never
can't
scored
stay
100
healthy,
points.
man. Can't stay
Yeah.
healthy.
Well, I don't want a injured guy on my fantasy team, so that's
Yeah.
relevant for us.
I mean,
this is the most names we've gone over.
The guy since 2019's never hit below 300, but he's never played more than 123 games since 2019.
Like if he could stay healthy and hit 300 and hit 15 home runs,
That's why the White Sox have not made.
Is he
seriously? I mean, he ends up on the Dodgers by the end of the year. So
is he the Anthony Rendon of the shortstop position?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's great comp.
That's perfect. It's like, yeah, if he stayed healthy, he might be in that good starter to even maybe near elite. But like the guy doesn't play a full season.
What's his contract look like for the White Sox?
He's a free agent after this.
Is he? Good for the White Sox.
Yeah, that's why I think he gets traded, because the White Sox aren't great and the Dodgers need a shortstop.
And it probably wouldn't cost too much.
No.
And he would take off in LA. He would, if he makes it to LA healthy, he'll take off on that stage.
Yeah, with that team and that lineup around him, dude, Tim Anderson could push into that. He would be
on a waiver wire all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah. What would that do? Would you let's say hypothetically he was on the Dodgers right now? Would you rank Tim Anderson in the good starter tier?
Not if he's still doing the same things he's doing.
Well, if you believe that his hype, if you know right now retiering that he's gonna be traded to LA, I might want a stock in Tim Anderson in that case. But I mean, we're doing this. I still think he's let me look at his trends. There's nothing there. He's wish I had better.
Yeah, I still think he's wish he had better. But it would not surprise me if he let's say he goes to a team like that and he just takes off.
Yeah. All right, we got to get a last call here. We're trending late in an episode. Last call for who you guys want to rank or retier.
We got all the names I wanted to cover.
Wesley?
Yeah, let's see. Is there anybody we missed? Tommy Edman, he's a second baseman. Taylor Walls. You guys got any interest in Taylor Walls?
No.
I want to go with how about the Red Sox starting shortstop right now?
Okay.
Pablo Reyes?
Pablo Reyes, Kike. Which one are you talking about? They don't have one.
No, I'm just kidding.
Kike Hernandez officially got taken out of the shortstop role. He's
in the outfield now.
He's basically a late inning power bat only. Not that he's got any skills going on, but it's Pablo Reyes full time right now as the shortstop. So I'm gonna hide the camera. Don't look at me. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, basically anybody else we would mention would be in the wish you had better. You know, J.P. Crawford, Hassan Kim.
Where will Trevor Story end up when he comes back as a shortstop? No stats right now to go off of.
I'm gonna let Burns. Yeah, I'm gonna let Burns answer that one first. I think he's in the wish you had better for no other reason than like, man, he just had an awful year last
he's roller coaster too. His lows are low, and I don't think his highs are high enough.
I don't know about that, dude. When Trevor Story was going, like he was a top 3 shortstop, and I agreed, but I think he can be that with the Red Sox because they have a better lineup. I think the support around him, he could be. He's
done that. He's had a year with the Red Sox, though.
He was hurt
awful
all year.
He was hurt,
but he still is.
And he was playing a different position.
I think based off his pedigree, I have him as a good starter, but nothing more.
I'm looking at his career number right here. Just give him the pedigree. Been hurt. I mean, the guy's sorry. 2019 he scored 538. 2018 he scored 553. This is like a Tim Anderson kind of situation, though, isn't it? If he's always been hurt, which in
I wouldn't
2021
say
always. No,
in 2021 he played and he only scored 439.
2022 was the only game he played less than 100 because the COVID season doesn't count. 16 was his rookie year. 45, 145, 157, 145, 142.
Okay.
The 4
Okay.
years.
I could be convinced to be a good starter.
He's had multiple 500-point years. I think he still has it there. No, that's what I said. Multiple. 2 is a multiple of 1.
Yeah, I could be convinced to be a good starter. That he could hit enough home runs to make himself relevant from week to week.
Yeah, and I think in this environment he could steal a few bases too.
Yep.
I mean, he's no schlub when it comes to stolen bases, even in the non-rule changes years, 20 in the 20s. So, all right, I've been convinced he's a good starter. I don't think.
I guess I'll press accept on that trade-off for now, Tommy.
I gotta find one. I boost his value just in 2 minutes.
So, all right. Well, that's been our shortstop re-tier, episode 26 of Fantasy Baseball Camp. If you're listening to us on your social media, please give us a rating. Go up there and just hit that review and give us whatever you think. We appreciate if you'd click 5 stars. If it's stars on all the platforms, just do it. Just let us know. And if you really feel like leaving comments, that's even great. We love the feedback. Hit us up on Instagram. That's where most of our stuff goes. Hit us up on Twitter. That's where a lot of the analytics go. And that's about it. This has been episode 26, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.